Yeah.
I mean, that's why, I would, if I had the same goal, I wouldn't care about my EV sales, right? I wouldn't care about my Starlink sales, and I know no one else is launching rockets like me.
What's going on, you guys? So we have Brian Tyler Cohen going against American billionaires. Elon Musk. Mark Cuban is here. Does he side with Elon Musk, or is he going to call out Elon's lies? Brian Tyler Cohen gets into it. Let's watch.
Vehicles might not be the best business strategy after all. According to new polling out of Germany with a sample of 100,000 respondents, it is a rejection that couldn't be clearer. More than 94% of T-Online readers said that they won't buy a Tesla again. Only 3% said they would still consider a car from the former electric pioneer. Around 100,000 readers voted, a record turnout. The message is clear: Germans are turning their backs on Tesla. And while it's easy to cast off polling, the actual sales numbers back up the findings. Tesla sales were down a staggering 76% in Germany, all while total EV sales actually climbed 31%. And it wasn't just Germany either. Tesla sales seem to be lagging across the world. Sales in Australia are down 71%. In Norway, Sweden, and Denmark, they're down 42 to 48%. In France, down 26%. In China, the number of Teslas being manufactured dropped 49%, even while its Chinese competitor, BYD, has seen sales surge by 90%. And right here in the US, sales dropped 11%. That comes as Ford, Chevy, and Volkswagen all saw sales percentages increase at the same time. In other words, the data is undeniable, which might cast doubt on the sales strategy of trying to sell electric vehicles, largely adopted by consumers who appreciate environmental concerns, while simultaneously aligning yourself with a far-right movement that thinks climate change is a hoax and that democracy should be overhauled by a form of technocratic oligarchy. And look, I may not own a car company, but I have a business degree from a good business school. Only I can't quite remember the class where we were told to find our consumer base and then act in the single most hostile way humanly possible to that very consumer base until they stop buying your products. But then I drank a lot in college, so maybe I missed that class. With regard to Germany specifically, Elon recently threw his lot in with the far-right AfD party, basically the modern iteration of the Nazi party. Only about 20% of German voters aligned themselves with the AfD party in the latest election, despite Elon trying to use his considerable resources and influence to elevate the party before voters went to the polls, a move that was swiftly condemned across the German political spectrum.
Ja, das ist schon eine Einmischung, ne? Also das ist keine Frage, aber es bleibt dabei, dass
And Brian Tyler Cohen is going to call out Elon Musk. He's putting his hand in another country's election. He said, oh, this worked great with the United States. Let me try it again in a whole nother country. He is starting to get too big for his britches. And we can see that these numbers are starting to actually hurt him, that more and more less people are buying Tesla, that he was getting bought out. Majority of his money was coming from U.S. government contracts, and it's going to continue to go from there. He might have thought that he was able to, pivot into these other countries to just do some damage control to make sure, hey, let me make sure that if this country does go to crap, I can get good with these other countries. It's not working, Elon. It's not working. Brian Tyler Cohen's calling you out. You're going to have to do something different.
nicht wirklich inhaltlich zu irgendwas beiträgt und er auch, glaube ich, gar nicht weiß, wie die Diskussionen in Deutschland politisch laufen.
Ich habe mich gewundert, weil eigentlich liest man, Elon Musk sei das Wunderkind und besonders begabt. Bei dieser Aussage muss ich daran zweifeln. Verändern kann nur jemand etwas, der regiert. Die AfD wird aber nicht regieren, weil niemand mit dieser Partei eine Regierung bilden wird.
Dass die Faschisten nicht nur von Putin gekauft sind, sondern auch von einem rechtsradikal gewordenen Multimilliardär unterstützt werden, sagt ganz viel über die Faschisten aus. Sie sind eine Truppe von Landesverrätern, die auch noch gekauft sind von Milliardären.
And so what resulted was decidedly not some windfall victory for the AfD, but rather Europe waking up to Elon's far-right bend. Here, for example, is a float in a German parade showing Elon being dubbed Napoleon with a US flag in tatters, while he foams at the mouth and a doctor chases him with a straitjacket.
Napoleon, ja, das ist dieser verhaltensauffällige Tech-Milliardär aus den USA. Und bei Daniela Patenzi, unserer Kollegin, ist jetzt Jacques Tilly live auf der Tribüne, der mal erklären kann, was er mit diesem Wagen eigentlich sagen wollte.
In case the metaphor was too subtle, And the most ironic part, not dissimilar to the partisan attitude toward EVs here in the United States, here's an ad from AFD, the same party that Elon was supporting, depicting a Tesla on fire. Again, seems bizarre to throw your lot in for a political party that despises your product and worldview, which was a question, by the way, that I posed to Mark Cuban during our last interview. Here's what he had to say. I gotta ask you this about Elon, because this is what kind of blows my mind. If you are the CEO of an EV company, and your audience, your consumer base is presumably people who buy EVs because they have some semblance of an understanding about climate change or whatever it is. How does that make sense from a business perspective to then get to completely red pill yourself, to go all in, to basically
And at this point, it is pretty sad. They have Elon Musk and Donald Trump. They've just become best friends. They've never found anyone like themselves before, and now that they're just going on this warpath, doing whatever they want. They have literally a lot of control now in this world, and they don't really care about anyone else. And then you have their followers, the ones that are like sipping the Kool-Aid, doing everything as far as that goes, and they're making America look so pathetic. So, just evil, really. They're really making us look like we don't care about people in general.
Abandon your core market, but then throw your weight behind a political party for whom climate change isn't even a real concern.
Because having the power to manipulate the most powerful man in the world is far more valuable than any amount of EV sales from Tesla. Just being able to be the puppet master.
Yeah. And he's already come out and said that he would work in Trump's administration.
Yeah, and that's fine, right? Trying to increase the efficiency. I've had the same conversations with the Harris campaign about, okay, what can we do to increase efficiency, to make it easier for businesses, et cetera, right? So that's all fine and good. There's no knock on Elon for that. But, if you're the wealthiest person in the world and you have control, effective control, you're the puppet master of the president, the most powerful person in the world, oh my God, that's about as intoxicating. That is the definition of power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why, I would, if I had the same goal, I wouldn't care about my EV sales, right? I wouldn't care about my Starlink sales, and I know no one else is launching rockets like me. Look, I give Elon, as an entrepreneur, he is the entrepreneur of our generation, and maybe the entrepreneur for the next 5 generations, we don't know. But in terms of his quest for power, that's different from being an entrepreneur. And you talk about insidious, yes, right? You see it in Twitter, you see it in his comments, you see it in his lack of responsibility. When you look at Twitter specifically, right? And if you don't want to go into a technical tangent, just let me know.
No, keep going. No. Yeah, you're good.
But the way Twitter's algorithms that he's published so far effectively work is whoever has the most reach allows you to reach the most people, who in turn reach more people. It's like a tree, right? A tree algorithm. And he knows that whatever he says and does reaches the maximum amount of people. And the people that he responds to, that amplifies what they do. And so everybody on Twitter's got that For You page to the left, right, that they see first. And if you just go and create a random burner account to see what's fed to you, it's all leaning the way Elon wants you to.
And therein lies.
And Brian Tyler Cohen is able to get the real answers from, billionaires like Mark Cuban on what's really going on. That this is just a complete power play.
The real issue. Elon is clearly content to relinquish car sales as part of his quest for power. He knows that he won't get the same access if he aligned himself on the left, because the left isn't willing to kowtow to a budding oligarch. The left isn't willing to give him what he wants on taxes. The left isn't willing to overlook his disdain for his workers, whom he refuses to allow to unionize. But the right will, and it clearly has. And so if that means that he's got to sacrifice some car sales in deference to his broader quest, his thirst for power, then so be it. And by the way, what Elon's lost in individual sales, he is more than making up for in government contracts, which I guess shouldn't be too much of a surprise for someone who's already taken in $38 billion in government handouts. Just weeks ago, the Trump administration's FAA sought to cancel an existing...
So there we have it, you guys. We have Brian Tyler Cohen calling out Elon Musk, getting the real answers from billionaires like Mark Cuban, and hopefully Brian Tyler Cohen keeps up the good fight. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. It's another day in the progressive way.